In this video, we're going to focus on how to add the data point label, how to add data label only to the last data point of a line chart in Chart.js 3. And this is a viewer's question in one of my other videos, which was related to how to add data labels in Chart.js. There we had a viewer, and so this is a special thanks to Abhik Paul, where he said the following: "Thank you so much for the video, you saved my time. I was not able to figure out why the CDN was giving problem." Alright, I'm going to give you later an answer for this one because I had the same issue here. Then after he asked, "Can you please make a video on how we can put data label only to the last data point of a line chart?" Of course we can, that's no problem. So let's start and explore. So what we're going to do here is we need to work with Chart.js and we will work with the data label plugin. So it's 2 in 1. Alright. So to do this, we have here our blank HTML file or a blank browser, and this is our HTML file. So let's start working on it. Alright, first things first, let's add up the chart. We go to chartjs.org. I'm using version 3.3.2, which is the latest. Alright, and then in here, you go to getting started and just copy this chunk of code here. This is a bar chart, I'm aware of that. So that means that later on we have to convert that into a line chart, but that should be no problem at all. And if you do struggle with this, I would say check out my other videos where I go deep into everything about Chart.js. Alright, so we've got this here. I'm going to remove all of this. And then what I'm going to do here is we're going to click on the submenu of getting started, and here we get the CDN file of the Chart.js library. So we put it in here, enter, and put it in here. Alright, so once we have this, what I want to do here, just for some design reasons, I want to make this a separate class. Let's say here chart box, so we might want to put in some padding here, although I didn't reset the CSS, so it doesn't matter so much. However, that might be one of the options. But what I do want to do is I want to put here in the style, or in the style tag, I want to set the width and height, or specifically the width. So we say here dot chart box, which is our class width, and then we can say here 800 pixels would be more than sufficient. Refresh it. There you are. That looks beautiful. Alright, so we have here bar chart. Let's convert this to a line chart. And once we have that one, this is all fine, etc., etc. Alright, so that's good to go. We can save this now, refresh, and now we have our line chart. Later on, I will just fine tune this a bit. So what we're going to do now is we're going to install the Chart.js plugin-datalabels. And if you want to know how we get there on this website, this is basically the website, but the website is quite tough to type, so you can just go here on ecosystem in chartjs.org, click here on awesome. Once you are here on awesome, it will show you every plugin currently available. And I already made some other videos as well related to different plugins, such as the data labels. I have a whole series about it. Check out that one. And of course, if you want to look at the other items, the Zoom currently is as well added on YouTube. Alright, click on data labels. So once you click on this, you see here you go to GitHub. I don't want to go to GitHub. I want to go to the latest version here. Click on documentation. And then once you are here, you get here to this part. Make sure you click on the latest version here, which I have here as well. So if you click here on this, go here. There you are. So then basically exactly the same as what I had in this tab here. Oh, sorry, that will show you later on. So this is the one we need. So we click on this, get started here, and then we say here, getting started. We look at here the information, and here is the tricky one. This is the part where Abhik was indicating that he had issues with it. I had the same issue with this, and I couldn't figure out what's going on. So this is why I'm really emphasizing this, so you will know this as well. So here it gives you a CDN. So you say, all right, we have a CDN here. You might say just copy paste, put it in the script, and you're done. No, that's not the case. The reason why is this here is not a JavaScript file. So if you will add it up here, it will give you an error, and it will not explain why this error is. So what we need to do is we need a .js at the very end, just like here. What we have here is here a .js indicating a JavaScript file. To find that, just go to cdnjs.com, search for the Chart.js plugin data labels, get the latest one, version 2.0.0, and if ever you have another one, get the newest one because version 2 is supporting Chart.js 3. Alright, so then you see here, this is the one. Just click on this copy script tag, bam, there you are, it's copied, and put it here between the JavaScript library of Chart.js and the Chart.js or the JavaScript chunk of code. Alright, so we've got this here. Make sure, oh, sorry, that's not what I want to do. I want to indent it properly. Alright, what I wanted to say was as well, make sure it's always after. The reason why it needs to be after is because this is a dependency on Chart.js. So there's items that is assumed that you already have this one loaded first. So this is why you need that. And this one here eventually will be loaded last one because it first needs to load all of these JavaScript libraries first. Alright, so this is dependent on this. Okay, so now we've got this. Now let's go back here to our plugin documentation. And in here, we can go now and click on the integration, which we've done so far. We've got this. You see this here. This is false. Do not use this one. That's fake. Use the one I suggested you. Alright, then we click here on registration. So now we need to register it, and I'm going to register it specifically on our chart. And we can do that basically like this. We can copy here plugins, then have this chart data labels. Alright, so once we have that, we go here down, and basically here in the options, or before the options, we have this. Alright, we're going to put it in. Oh, did I copy it incorrectly? Try again. There we are. So we put it in here. So we activate this, comma. Now we have the options here. And within the options, we can now start to work with the data labels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do just below the skills here. Then here, and this is also sometimes very confusing because you have plugins here and then you have options. And then if you're aware with Legend, in Chart.js 3, for the migration, you need to have plugins first. Plugins, and then you would have Legend, and then etc. etc. So, and you might say, well, because you have this here, you already done, you don't need that. Well, no, you need it as well. So you need your plugins. And then here, we're going to use the data label. So basically, we got this now, the configuration. Let's see here. You can see options, plugins, and then data labels. That's what we're going to do here. And there we are. So now we have this. I'm going to save this for now. It's just blank. However, you should see numbers here. All right, that's beautiful. So now we have the numbers. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two things. First of all, if you're going to put it at the very end here, I don't know if you want it on top here or exactly on the center. Most likely not. You might want to have it on the left side, on the right side, top, bottom, whatever. So that's what we're going to do. The first thing what I want to play around with, and if you want to know all these commands, please check my series about the Chart.js data labels. I go to all of these options here. So we're going to do options here. I'm going to use anchor and align immediately. So we say here anchor. Anchor is the most important one, and then anchor, this will be a string. Let's say this will be top. Alright, so we're going to force them on the top. Are they on the top? For some reason they're not yet on the top. And then, of course, we have the align. And let's put the align at the, let's see, this should be at the end. If I'm not mistaken, maybe this needs to be at the end as well. Let's double check here. Oh, that doesn't work because we have no comma here. Put a comma. Refresh. Alright, so now we are here on the top. If you want to put the align maybe on the right, might be possible as well, or maybe this should be at the end. Try to end here. Oh, no, that doesn't work. This might be an end, but that's alright. For now, not important. This is end, so we're here now exactly at the top. So now what we have is, what we want to do is, we want to get only the last item here. For that, we're going to use the display. Well, display is not really functional until you start to understand how to use display in a scriptable manner. Alright, so here we're going to use display, and display is a string or boolean or scriptable. So now this will be fun. So in here, and this is eventually what we want to do. So basically what we're really going to do, and this is just the explanation, what we're going to do is we're going to overwrite all of these items here. Right now, all of these items is a index, or that's why it's called indexable, but basically it's an index, it's an array value. So this is index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Well, there's 6 values here, or 6 elements basically in the index, but this is the last element is number 5. And the first element, this is why we call it first element, because the element itself, the first one, is index 0. We cannot say the 0th element because that doesn't make any sense. So 0 or index 0 is the first element, and index 5 is the 6th and the last element in our case. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to make a display. We're going to create a function, and in this function what we will say is we don't see all of these elements anymore. We only see one element, and that's element number 6, or sorry, yeah, the 6th element, which is index number 5. Alright, so that's what we're going to do, and later on I will show you in step by step to get more understanding. But here what we're going to do now is we will create this function here, and in this function we're going to say context with an X. Alright, so why context? Let me explain context here. If we go up here, we say here get context 2D. What does this really mean? So if you check Chart.js, you will figure out that context basically means start to draw in a canvas tag. And all of this information here is text that is being converted into a visual representation as a chart in the canvas. So that's basically what we're doing. We say here in JavaScript, start to draw in the canvas. And what are we going to draw? Well, all of these codes here convert this into a picture basically. So that's why here the function context will get all of these items within the canvas. That's what you're really doing, because here all these codes are in the canvas as well. So then we say here, okay, what are we going to do here? What do we want? Well, we want to return only one thing. What do we want to return? Well, basically we want to return only the last array value. So how do we do this? Well, we say here context. Then we say here .data index. So what is the data index here? The data index is what I indicated here. If you hover over this, the tooltip understands which color and which value we need to show. For example, blue, it shows blue, and then it shows the blue color here because of this matching color here in the background. So it understands this. This is the data index. So when we hover over one of these values, the index value basically, it understands which one you are hover over, and that would grab the value. This is very important to understand, because with this you can do so much more. So I hope you understand it. Then what we say is we want to say equal. So what basically we're saying is this array, the context data index here within the display equal what exactly? Well, we want to remove all of them. We only get this one here. No matter what, we only show this value here. So we say equal, and this is equal strict triple 3 times 5. 5 is hard-coded. I will show you later the soft-coded reason, but 5, then we'll show only this value here. So once you did that, semicolon here, save that. Oh, let's see what am I missing here. What am I missing? Did I make a mistake? Equal 5. Let's double check here if this is possible. Do we have that one? Yes. So let me double check here. Do I have everything correct? Context.data index with capital I. Alright. Well, apparently this doesn't work. Let me check. Alright, so I just checked it. I noticed that I have a semicolon on the return. Sorry, that's forbidden, because the return is a value itself. There's no semicolon. So make sure here, return. So what are we returning? This, and then number 5. So once we do that, we can refresh. We can see now we get the last value here only. So basically what we're saying is we only want to have the last value, no matter what. Even if you hover over anything else, the only last value eventually is what we want, which is this one here, or at least for the data labels. That's what we want to display. Alright, so now let's soft code this. So basically what we need to do to soft code it is basically this, and then here dot, and so you go to data set. So how do we get to data sets? We go basically here, the data set itself, but this is without the S, just only data set. Then we say dot data, and then dot length. And if we do this, this will give us number 6. And that's not what we want. But what we want eventually is -1. Because the length of the array is 6. Remember, this is basically what we're getting here is the array length, 6. So -1, and we get instead of the 6th element is index number 5. Save this, refresh, and there you are. So now we have this, and now the only final thing is probably what would be nice is to make this a bit more aesthetically eye-pleasing. So let's start to do that one. So what I will do is here border width, comma, and then I'll say here tension. I like the tension more elastic, because right now the tension is far too much that you have sharp edges. That doesn't make sense. A line chart should have a lower tension, 0.4. Got that. There we are. That's it. And there we are. So we have this. You could even make some other options here, remove these points here, but this is the most important part here. You can play around with the anchor tag here as well. Let's see what we can do. If you look here, we go to the anchor, if I'm not mistaken here. Alright, that is the horizontal, and this is the line. Basically, it's the line here. So if I go here on alignment and offset, we should have here the anchor point, then we should have the right. Alright, so here align right. If I save that one, go back here, we go that here, right, and then maybe this one will be center, so we push it to the center. There we are. And then of course finally offset. Let's make this 5 or 10 pixels, comma, make sure comma, save that. There we are. So this worked. So what would happen if you might break this? What I would say here, you can do a layout. This is very important. So in case you need this, you have here a layout option. You can say layout, and then we have to do a padding here. Padding 10 pixels, well, 20, let's say 20 pixels, comma here. If we do this, we expand here. As you can see, what is happening, the chart gets smaller here on purpose. And we can see here, let's see our things, because this is a border box. So the chart gets smaller. Where are we here? There you are. The chart gets smaller while the width is still 800. But what's really happening is we create a padding around it in the canvas to make sure that if this would be a far longer number, the padding will save you on the text here, or for example, if you would have some text here as well. So this is the most important part, and this is basically how you can show only the last value here on the chart. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you enjoy this video, you probably will enjoy this one as well. And if you're interested in Chart.js, check out in the description box the link directing to my Chart.js course where you can learn everything about Chart.js. And finally, of course, make sure you subscribe to my channel.